I finally pulled a Void Legendary on this account. The problem is he's not that great, but Wurlim the Frostking just got a buff, so we need to go ahead and test him out. Hey you guys, it's Cece. Welcome back to my channel. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I had mixed emotions with this champion because I was so excited to pull a Void Legendary, and then I read his skills and I was kind of like let down. I was like, okay, he's just okay. He's kind of mid. He doesn't do anything that's like amazing for this champion to be a Void Legendary. And then I heard he was getting a buff, and again, I was super excited to see what his buff was. And then I've read post buff, and now I'm not sure how to feel. I guess until we actually go ahead and try him out in various areas of the game. So today we need to go ahead, test him out in arena, test him out in some of the PvE scenarios, and see if he really is going to be adding anything into my team. I said it when I first got him and it still stands. I think of Game of Thrones and the Frostking when I see him. I thought this champion looked so epic. He looked so cool. So again, let's go ahead. We'll see his skills and then really try him out. So his aura had an ally defense increase in battles, which is fine. Now, his first skill, they did change this all slightly. This is all the updated skills. So attacks an enemy with 30% chance of placing a freeze debuff for a turn. The debuff cannot be resisted. I will say I don't know why it is a 30% chance. He's the Frost King. He should just be able to just freeze them. That's what I expect from him looking at him. Now, he also places a perfect veil buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. Not going to complain about that. Perfect veil is nice to have. His skill 2 does attack all enemies. This one has a 70% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff and a 50% accuracy debuff for 2 turns. The debuffs cannot be resisted. Also places a 30% increased crit damage buff on all allies for 2 turns, which is fine. A little bit of a supportive skill in there, attacking all enemies. But for a skill called Frostbite, I was surprised there's no freeze in here. That's simply on the skill 1. And then in here we have the third one, which places a 25% strengthen buff, 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Has a 60% chance of placing a freeze debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. The debuff cannot be resisted. So I guess kind of makes sense. You have that chance of placing the freeze debuff on everyone. Again, that's something I kind of would have expected to see in like a skill 2. You're attacking all the enemies. They're bringing it over to skill 1. Fine, but again, it's only a 60% chance. We can bring this down to a 3-turn cooldown. So they've changed his skills slightly, but I'll be honest with you guys, reading everything, I am still not like entirely impressed to be like, yes, he looks amazing now, because I read these things and some parts of it are nice. The fact that the debuff cannot be resisted, because we don't really have to worry about accuracy now. That's one of the benefits. Accuracy kind of went out the window when it came to his buff, so I'll take that. That's a good thing. But reading the rest of the skills, I'm still trying to figure out if he does fit anywhere specifically into any of my teams, and if there's another champion that I maybe want to like boot off the team so I can bring him in. And I don't know if I get that just from really reading his skills. And honestly, you guys, the reviews are not in his favor very much. And again, I still don't think the recommended artifact tab, like, they need to fix this. This isn't telling us anything. We're not really putting our defense and life on this guy. I say that, but I'll be honest, I don't necessarily have the best gear on this champion either. I kind of threw whatever I had on him. I have tried different ones as well and just trying to make this champion work in a team and testing him out. So the one that I'm currently testing on him, I have speed on him just so he's not super slow. And then I did try to put a toxic set on him. I was kind of thinking I could take advantage of his AoE skills and seeing if maybe I can land a bit of poison. This is something I decided to try to play around with him. So that is currently what I have on this champion. Not necessarily what I would suggest and be like, yeah, you guys, you should use this. This is just me playing around with this champ and seeing if I can make that work for him. Now, I have not booked him, not necessarily planning to, and I have not gotten any masteries for him yet. Because again, if I'm going to go ahead and maybe get masteries for a champion, probably going to be a champion that I am jumping up and down to want to be able to actually use. So now let's go test him out, Mr. Frostking. Let's see what you do. The first place we're going to test him out is arena. And again, I am like a low player, guys. I am like new to this game. So we're kind of just going along with what we've got and how we can test him out. So current arena team, we will bump you out and let's bring in the Frost King here. Now I'm going to keep that speed lead, only makes sense. We'll go ahead. I'm going to take auto off so we can actually go ahead and maybe like see some of his skills, see if this poison actually lands, the AoE, if the frost lands. These are all kind of things that we want to take into consideration to see, because freezing can potentially be really nice if we're, you know, actually able to kind of freeze them in place. It's good. It gives us crowd control. We love crowd control when it comes to champions. So go ahead, let's these guys do what they need to do. Oh my, Thor, what is going on? Thor, no. All right, let's go ahead and cleanse up a little bit. see when it is our turn. Oh my goodness, Alice. Alice, great champion, but still. Okay, so we can go ahead and do his skill 3 here. Let's see, because we have a 60% chance of placing a freeze debuff on all enemies for a turn. Let's see if we're able to land that. So we'll go ahead and let's buff ourselves up. There you go, perfect. And let's go ahead and do a little bit of more buffing with Demitha. There you go, Wukong is back. He'll go ahead, take in some of those hits. And let's go ahead and just attack everybody, steal some of their buffs. Perfect. Kind of even out this playing field a little bit. We need to get rid of her because you're a reviver. Spoke too soon. Okay, so now let's go in with this skill. So this one actually attacking all enemies. Now, no freezing necessarily going down in here, but maybe we can do some decreasing, maybe see what we're able to do in there. Okay, and we were able to actually land poison on 2 of them. So one of the reasons I did try the toxic set just to see how that would go with them. So, and with the Mytha, let's see if we can go ahead and get rid of you. Perfect. Okay, so let's go in with the skill 1 on Alice. And we got the freeze on her actually. And we have that toxic. And of course, Wukong is back again. One of the reasons he's so good for PvP. All right, let's see. Can we go ahead and... Okay, so we did land at least the poison on Alice again. Didn't freeze her that time though. But he does have the perfect veil up. And like I said, the perfect veil is kind of nice. So not terrible. As I said, I'd like to try him out in live arena, and I do think there's a few reasons that he might work in there. Part of him being a void affinity, kind of nice going up against other affinities. Has that irresistible freeze on the A1 and the A3 if he is able to land it. And then of course, having the perfect veil and giving a little bit more survivability. He might be a sneaky unit that I can actually use in there, and people may underestimate him potentially. So be sure you subscribe so you're able to see when I do take him into live arena. I did try him out in different PvE things like Doom Tower. I do think he could work in there, and something like Spider's Den. I wanted to test out his AoE capabilities with the freezing. And another place that he did also work. I also put him into Dragon's Lair because I am running hard on that, and I wanted to see how he would handle those waves. And that is one of the places that I do think his freeze is really nice. When he was able to actually land that on there, it's really nice for your team to be able to kind of recuperate, get some heals going, and to be able to just do a bit of crowd control in there. So overall, I do think him as a unit, I'm glad that I built him. I could see him having some more viability in this game now that he has gotten his buff. For those of you that have him in storage, I don't know if it is enough for you to bring him out of storage if you have a ton of other champions, but I do think for myself and where I'm at in this game, the buff was definitely helpful. It makes me a little bit happier now that I do have him. I do think there's areas that he is going to be able to shine. As I said, for something like dungeons, he's great for wave clearing and being able to do a bit of the freezing in there, as well as providing some extra survivability in the team. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the unit, but I guess for you, it's gonna depend on if he fits into any specific place for you in the game. I do think him being a void legendary, we do expect amazing things from these types of units, and I think with the buff, we were really excited about it, and I think that might be part of the reason that maybe if you read the buff and it's like, oh, that's it. Yes, I think maybe it could have been a little bit better, so I'm glad he got a buff. Do I think it could have been a little bit more compared to other void legendaries? Absolutely, but at least it's better than what we had. If you download Raid Shadow Legends using my link, I'm actually going to start you off with the free legendary champion on day 1, and then at level 10, level 20, and level 30, you'll get yourself an epic. That is 4 amazing champions that you can get just by downloading using my link. So for myself, my overall thoughts on his buff, I think it could have been better. I mean, it's better than it was, and at that point, it's a win. We'll take what we can get, but leave your guys' thoughts down below. Comment if you've got him, if you plan on using him, or what you think of this buff overall. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, including some future champion testing. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!